everybody. Welcome back to the Spotlight on Amputee series. I know last week we didn't have a show. We had to skip a week. We had a kind of an unfortunate mishap. Matt Bulow, my prosthetist, my actual good friend, he lost his father. As I kind of told you guys, and I put out a community post saying that, and I was, stating there that I would never expect at a time like that for somebody to come on and talk about prosthetics and, that kind of stuff. That's just ridiculous. So, we decided to just forego it, and we're going to reschedule, come back at a later time whenever he's comfortable coming on and hanging out with us, and and talking this kind of stuff with with everybody else. So there you go. Um, I know the other day that I also mentioned Mr. Terry Brown, who's also been on the show before, and I was saying that he fell and hurt himself really bad. Well, what had happened is he had actually taken a mishap and kind of went, ass over tea kettle, as they say, where you kind of you loop out and go completely over. Well, he ended up breaking his back and his. Let me see, I wrote it down here. He broke his back and his L1 vertebrae. So he is right now in a neck brace. It goes down like the front of his chest and down his back, and he's basically got to kind of crane himself around to look around. Um, he's going to be okay. He's going to be fine, but he at the same time, it's rough, especially when you're an amputee. It's a little bit different, for us all having to deal with stuff like that. We don't bounce back quite as fast as most. So so yeah, there you go. Eh, Terry, we love you, brother, and Matt, we also love you, brother, and we'll see you guys back on the show for sure. So don't have no fear. Miss MOL, she's doing good. I know some of you guys saw the video the other day I put out, and she's still doing all right. The nausea is still kind of lingering, that kind of thing. So other than that, she's doing good though. The her heart rate and everything is starting to kind of go back down. Blood pressure's regulating back to where it should be. So I mean, with the help of medications, that kind of stuff. But still, hey, I'll take it. I'm obviously she will too. So before we get going, I want to say hello to everybody here. Mr. Backwoods, good seeing you. Possum Smiles, good seeing you as always. Mr. Goose, good seeing you. All right. Now, whenever I went to go schedule season 3, I reached out to several people, several different communities, that kind of thing, like I always do. And, I have a lot of people reach out that, I find super interesting, people that, I want to talk to that, have very interesting stories that, that are they want to talk about it. There's people that they love talking about this kind of stuff. Some do and some don't. And again, I'm here for both. I really am. This channel is here for the people that want to. I want to help you kind of get past that that shell, and then I also want to hear more about the people that are like completely came out of their shell that are just here to show the world. You know. Well, Mr. Robert is one of those people, and he is somebody that I was super, super happy, super stoked for you guys to meet. And without further ado, I want to bring on my friend, your new friend, Mr. Robert Raymond. Robert, how are you, brother?
Hello, hello. How's it going?
Good, good. You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about being on your show though. After the misfortunes of the other people, I'm going, oh no.
Oh man, hey,
But but look, I'm like most amputees. I fall at a drop of a hat. So it's especially being a
yep.
bilateral amputee, it's
I was
second
about to
nature for
say,
me. So
yeah, I was about to say, yeah, you are a well, most would call a double. So
yes,
you're
yes.
bilateral. So there you go. Um, Well, I mean, do you care to tell us a little bit about that? How that came to be?
Okay, well, I started out this wonderful journey, becoming just a regular amputee below the knee right, back in 1999. I developed blood clots um, in my veins, and it every time they would do a procedure, try to get rid of the blood clots. It would blow out another vein and all that good stuff. So,
Kept
um,
jumping from one to the other.
you got it. So,
Yeah.
and of course they didn't know what was causing it. They could only treat me. And after about a year of treatments and almost a year of being in the hospital, they finally had to take my leg. And then in, um, I would say probably about 10 years after that, my other leg started the same problem. My left leg started the same problems with the stuff happening again. And
Mm.
finally, in 2017, I lost my left leg, and at first it was below the knee, and I had developed an infection, and so they had to go in and revise it and make it above the knee.
I
And
see.
so that's why when I reached out to you, when I saw, you wanted topics or whatever, I was curious because I don't see a lot of people like me, where one side is above the knee and one side is below the knee.
Yeah.
And in the community, I'm not really considered bilateral because I'm not. I'm not. A bilateral is two of the same, and I'm not
Yeah.
two of the same. So I consider myself bilateral because, I wear all the prosthetics and everything on both sides, but and I don't meet a lot of people like me.
Yeah.
So
We actually had one lady on here. Her name was Rochelle Cooper,
mhm,
and she's the same. I'm talking the same exact setup as you, same side, everything. So feel free to go back and check out her post. I mean, her episode that we did, because I mean, she is super super sweet, very very kind, and
mhm,
yeah, she's exact same way. I mean, like I said, same legs, everything. So
yeah,
there you go.
yeah. And what happened to me is it turned out that according to my vascular surgeon, I was premature. Oh, I can't think of of course, now it just ran out of my mind. But it turned out that I was allergic to heparin. And every time they would give me heparin, I would go throw blood clots, which would burst the legs. But nobody knew this until almost when I was going in for my second amputation. And then the doctor realized, oh no, he's allergic to heparin. And I went, okay, fine, So I'm also morphine tolerant, which makes it even more fun. So yeah.
It's a little too late at that point, though. You know, I mean,
I said the exact same thing, and so did my partner. So
it would have been great to have known this ahead of time. You know, I mean that would have been fantastic to know that.
yeah, and considering all the doctors and all the hospitals that I went through, and all the things that I went through up until that point, it took them what almost 20 years or 25 years for them to figure out what was causing it and what not to do anymore. So,
Yeah. Have they ever actually labeled what it is? Like with me, also have the same thing. I went through DVTs, that kind of thing. Again, you
hmm
don't talk about yourself in an interview, but I had DVTs, that kind of stuff. I have what's called Berger's disease, and
okay,
it stems from smoking cigarettes. It's a nicotine. It's a hyper sensitivity to nicotine.
hmm
And anytime I get around it, anything like that, it causes blood clotting, and basically my blood without blood thinners is like maple syrup. Like you actually have to, like, if I were to cut myself, and I wasn't on blood thinners, you'd have to be like, and like get it to like come out, you know. Um, Not good. And with your upper and lower extremities, that kind of stuff, your phalanges, your fingers and your toes, that kind of stuff, it affects that immediately. So that's, you're talking the frostbite look, the black toes, black fingers, that kind of thing.
hmm
And that's exactly what happened to me. I started with a toe, then the toe next to it, and it kind of keeps jumping over and over until it starts to eventually just go up the whole foot. And it was much the same, like you're saying, where for me it was into the foot, all the way up like below the knee, and another surgery below the knee. Now I'm above the knee, and then they went up another few inches above the knee again.
Wow.
So it's been fun. It's been
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good.
I can understand. And like I said, they told me what the doctor finally decided that it was that that I was diagnosed with. It was something that old people get with their limbs. And this started with me when I was 38. So they didn't have any frame of reference for me back then. They thought I had a vitamin K deficiency. They thought I had cancer. They thought I had this. They thought I had that. And so they were treating me on everything. Um, I understand what you're saying about the Coumadin because I've been on Coumadin since 1998. So um, and like the doctor said, I'll be on for the rest of my life. Only because of um, a possibility of aortic aneurysms, and
Okay.
that's their big worries now. As far as veins go, they did vein surgeries on me where they removed veins from my arms to my and placed them in my legs, and those
Mhm.
surgeries weren't um, successful at all. Um, but that's so I have um, sort of poor circulation in my upper extremities, but I don't have any worry about losing them. Not like you. I don't have that problem
Yeah.
where I could lose them up. But it does every once in a while when I start hurting, it does bother me a great deal.
Yeah.
And I'm also cold a lot, so it's
Oh yeah, I stay cold. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm the perfect person in the summertime. It could be like 100 degrees outside, and I'm just kind of like looking
yep.
around, everybody like, "What are y'all complaining about?" It's like so. My circulation's horrible.
Yep.
I wanted to say hello real quick. Miss Tammy Conlon and Miss Blue Eyes came in, so good seeing you guys. Miss Tammy, next week we're gonna have. I'll get to that in here in a minute. Tammy is our next week's guest. We're gonna do like this Q&A
Okay.
kind of thing. But yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Um, well, that's man, wow. So so with dealing with that, I mean, there's so many different surgeries, this kind of thing. Was or I guess is PTSD an issue for you, or is that something that because people handle things differently? Some people, but also something else that I wanted to ask, like kind of a side question, is you are in the military, so
Yes.
that can kind of carry over. You know what I mean? So that's I'm trying to handle it with kid gloves and not be like just so
No,
tell
and
me
I
the
told
thing.
you, I told you, no, I told you when we were starting this that you could ask me anything, and if I don't want to answer the question, I won't. But you're absolutely right.
100%.
Other things happened to me in the military, which may have or could have caused PTSD. I was involved in a helicopter explosion when I was serving in Korea. I was involved with some other stuff that happened to me in basic training. Actually, I almost died in basic training from blood poisoning. But um, but you're right. With
100%.
everything that I went through, it was just it was just unreal. Uh, I don't think I went through PTSD, um, but I think I made it through thanks to my family and a few friends that I had. I made it through all the way through. Because it
Yep.
was like you, it was not a single process. It was a very long, long process.
Yep.
And of course, being an amputee now, and a bilateral amputee, of course, I can't do everything that everybody else does. So it's hard on my partner, but we make do. So
That's all we are, dude. I mean,
yeah.
that's how we do it, man. I mean, shit, look at us out here living it up. Dude, well, that's, I mean, okay. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that, because it can be like one big, hey, Jeff, what's up, brother? It can all be just one, big pile, and it's all accumulates to just one, I don't know. People want to put, anxiety and depression and all this stuff, they're, to me personally, what I think a lot of it is, and me and Kurt Yeager was talking about the same thing, is we were saying that, it's what doctors and stuff will tell you is, it's a memory that's been really, really sunk down in your brain, and you just kind of lock it away and try not to really say or, think about it. And every so often, it'll just kind of work its way up through those crevices. And, like I was telling him, it manifests itself in, fear, sometimes anger, sadness, that kind of stuff. And when it does, it comes on like instantly. And that kind of stuff, man, it's the scary part is it comes on and it's just like boom, and you're having this kind of, really strange episode, and then it goes away. It's just like it just vanishes. And that's what leaves you with that kind of just like, like what the hell just happened, and that's the scary part. That's the stuff that really, really affects me and really, really bothers me as far as like PTSD and that kind of thing goes.
Hmm.
And it's different for everybody else. Everybody handles stuff differently. Um, with you, do you have panic attacks or
Yes.
anxiety attacks or anything like
Yeah.
that?
I
Like,
have
yeah,
I have panic attacks. Um, thank God not regularly, but I do get them, and they are severe enough that whereas I also have a heart condition, so I don't know if I'm having a panic attack or I'm having a heart attack because the it
yeah,
feels just about the same to me.
yep. I get it totally. It hits you, and it just that fear rushes over you, and it's just like, oh my god, man, yeah, and yeah, it's rough, man. I feel for you, brother. And again, that's what we do here. That's what this channel is. There's a whole bunch of other channels out there that's basically just a you got this way to go, and me rub you on your shoulders and say, "Attaboy, pal." That's not really our thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's like, let's talk about it. If you're not comfortable about talking about it, not you, just, people that
Hmm.
come here, if you're not comfortable, this might not be the place. I mean, I'm not just trying to suck everybody in that wants to come give me a view. We're trying to actually talk to people and get a point across, and that's what we're trying to do with this whole channel. And you know, it's rough. It's rough, man. That's why I always try to like I ask that question, is just like is this still bother you, to this day?
Oh
Is
yeah,
it
definitely, definitely.
yeah.
I went through. Well, I retired just before COVID, and um, so COVID hit, and I'm stuck at home, um, and I have nothing to do, and um, there was very little to do because you couldn't join groups, you couldn't do whatever,
Yeah.
and it took me a while to bounce back out of that. So, um, and that was like 2 years or so after my above the knee amputation. So I was learning how to walk and talk and be the good little amputee where I'm out there doing all the good stuff that I could do. And then one morning I woke up and I said, "Why? Why am I doing this?" I
Yeah.
can sit in a chair and get around just as quick and just as easy. And I'm wearing one of the best things I could ever tell you, and you were talking about your prosthetics person, was finding a good prosthetics person because they not only save your life, by putting you in prosthetics, but making sure you're in the right stuff and um, making sure that you're actually going to use the stuff. As my guy stays on my case, that I'd wear my legs, I'd get out and walk, and I'd get out and do things, and um, um, and he's constantly making changes, making updates and upgrades and whatever. So I have a really good guy, and I've been seeing the same guy. I've been pretty fortunate. I've been seeing the same person for about 20 years. So
Nice.
yeah, so
I mean, give him a
I
shout out. That's fine. Say you can say my
yeah,
name.
his name is Dennis, and he works for Metro Prosthetics here in Maryland. So they have
Okay.
two offices, one in Nottingham and one in outside of DC. But
Okay, good deal. I'll get with you after this, and I'll get their links and all that stuff, and we'll put it in the description. And it won't. It's not there now because we're just learning about it.
yeah,
But yeah, get with me, and we'll put that in the description and stuff. So
yeah, and a
this
couple.
channel is
Go
sponsored
ahead.
by Bulo Prosthetics, but we still want to put other companies like that out there. So
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And I can't say enough good about him and my partner because they try to keep me motivated. They try to keep me upright. They try to keep me moving.
yeah,
So, and occasionally, like you said, it's going to hit you and it's going to hit you hard, and you just don't want to do it. You just don't want to. So,
there's days where I don't wear my leg like at
yeah.
all. I just flat out don't. I don't even put my liner on. Nothing.
Hmm.
Yesterday was one of those days. I didn't put my leg on at all. Not once. I was just. I started to, and I grabbed my liner, and I started. I put it on the end of my stump, and I was just like, God, that's cold. I was like, no, you know what? Forget it. Never mind. I have a like a toboggan, like a
Yeah.
beanie, and I pulled that over my leg and then pulled my pants on. I put like a beanie over my leg,
Yep.
and that's my winter protection. My sweater for my leg.
I like that idea.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to cut up a limb sock or anything like that. I just put
Hmm.
it like a regular beanie over top of it, and there you go. Need a
Yeah.
liner heater? Yeah, she's also an amputee. Yeah, liner heaters are you're right. Those are really really cool. I seen one day where it was actually on one of the support groups. This dude
Hmm.
went to Home Depot and like took some L pipe, like just PVC pipe and stuff, and
Yeah.
ran it, and then ran like four pipes coming out of it,
Yep.
and hooked a blow dryer to it with
Yep.
like, and just he would turn the blow dryer on and it would just shoot out all four, but he would put his liners on all four of those.
Yep.
I was like, dude, and you would think, oh, fire hazard and all that shit, but I mean, it's only on there just for a minute. It's not like it's just sitting there just blowing constantly. So, but that's a really cool idea.
That is a cool idea. I like that. My other half did the same thing for me. He made me a liner heater, but more like a towel on the basis of a towel warmer type thing. Because
Okay.
I was always telling him that my liners were really cold, and he made his own, and it worked for a couple of weeks, and then I said, this is just too much work to plug it in the morning, wait, blah blah blah, and at the time I had no I didn't want to wait around for it. So I
Yeah.
just put the damn thing on, I got in the car and went to work. So, that's, but like you said, yeah, they get pretty cold. And during the winter they get, well, and in our house, because my he likes the air conditioning like hanging meat. So our I think our house is warmer in the winter time than it is in the summertime. So because he cools it down to at least 70. So, or 71. And I'm walking around with a sweater and a hat on, going, oh, help me.
We also have circulation issues, man. So, it's a little different. It's a little different.
Yeah. Well,
That's actually a good
he
idea
tells
right
me
there.
to put a sweater on, so
Hey, I'm same
Yep.
here. I get it too. It's like, well, there's
Yep.
a hoodie over there. There's a robe. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. Put a
I
hat
use
on.
hand warmers. What she said. That's what. Yeah, hand warmers. That's a pretty good idea too.
Hmm.
But yeah, those liners get super cold, man. I generally just put it on and just go with it. Just like kind of just like just kind of It's like, man, just kind of grin and bear it for a second. It warms up pretty quick. So,
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. You don't have to worry too much about it. So,
yeah. Um. So you were saying that you still have your knee right on
yeah, on the
one
right
leg.
side, on the right side,
Yeah.
I still have my knee, and that's
Okay.
basically, and basically what I do, how I survive is if I'm home and I'm not going anywhere and I'm not going to put on my other leg for any my above the knee leg, um, to do transfers from my wheelchair or to go to the yeah to do transfers basically. I'll wear my below the knee um, complete gear. I'll have the leg on, I'll have the liners on and everything else. That way I can stand and I can move and I can transfer to the toilet, to the bed and all that good stuff. So I don't have to, bounce around and take the arms off the wheelchair and do all this other
Yeah.
happy shit. So, stuff. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't
Um,
worry about it. We're all good.
okay.
Mom and dad aren't around, man. So they we can say whatever we want.
No, no, no. Yeah, no, no. I'm a child of military. My entire family was in the military, so my second language is colorful. So yeah.
Yeah. My second language is F word. So
Yes, exactly, exactly. Um,
Let me fix my. Hang on. There we go. All right.
but like you said, um, yeah, I do have the knee, and I um, I pretty much do wear the one side all the time. Like right now, I'm sitting in my wheelchair. I don't have anything on my left side at all, but on my right side, I have the full leg and the liner and all that good stuff on. So
Okay.
that gets
Good
me
deal.
around. And we do a lot of cruising, or yeah, a lot of cruises. And I've started doing the cruises when I had just the one side amputated, and then I went to both sides to a bilateral amputee, and I first thing I did was I had a motorized cart, and I still do. I bought one. I have a motorized cart, and on the ship I was the tiny terror, because I'd run into people, run off the elevators, and all this good stuff. So then I decided,
Smash
well,
into people. Oh, I'm just learning.
exactly,
Sorry, my bad.
exactly. Or, oh, look at me, I'm an amputee.
I'm I'm an amputee. Oh, don't
Yeah,
play that
I,
card. Get out of here.
I don't have any legs.
Oh, poor little old me and my no legs. Oh,
Well, yeah, when you run into
get
them,
out of here.
and you've been drinking all afternoon, and you run into people, but no,
You're gonna do that one time and end up on a cruise for amputees and not realize it. They're gonna be like,
exactly,
"Yeah, yeah, go cry that somewhere else, buddy. Get out of here."
exactly. And but one of the cruises I was on, there were several amputees on the cruise, which
Oh,
surprised
cool.
me. Yeah, which surprised me. Um, and that was interesting. But I think, and what we've been doing now is I take my wheelchair wherever we go. I do walk. I can walk occasionally. I can't walk the long distances. Um, I could, but I choose not to because it'd be too much. I'd extend too much energy.
I
um,
see.
with with my heart rate and whatever it goes through the roof. Don't wear an iWatch because it will tell you exactly what it is. And
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about does it affect your heart rate more so?
oh yeah, it does. Well, I always had a high heart rate even before the MT started. I always
Oh, really?
ran high, and nobody noticed it until I think when I had the second amputation, one of the doctors noticed it, and then they also noticed that I had somewhere along the line I had a heart attack, and so I only have like 40 or 50% use of my heart, and I didn't know that either. So yeah,
Wait, whoa, 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 hold on,
yeah,
hold
yeah,
on.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
You suffered a heart attack and you didn't even know?
Nope,
Like,
no. And what I think would happen was is during one of the
Whoa.
operations that I had when my veins were blowing out and they were trying to save my leg, I remember I was in surgery for about 8 or 9 hours, or they told me I was in surgery for 8 or 9 hours. I don't remember it. Um, and she said, I lost you. I thought I lost you once or twice during that surgery. And I guess it just never stuck. It never took. And then um, flash ahead 20 years, I'm in the hospital and they find some sort of enzyme that has something to do with your heart. So they're going to give
Mhm.
me, I'm getting all set up for a heart catheter. And they're, they put me on the table, they give me all the drugs that they're going to do. And they says, well, we might have to do this, we might have to do that. You might have blockage here, you might have blockage there. So the doctor went in, um, started the procedure, looked at the screen, then looked at me and said, "Well, I don't need to do anything because all the damage to your heart is um, you had a heart attack so long ago that all the damage to your heart had healed itself.
Wow.
So they didn't have to do any of that. There was no other blockages or anything else in my heart, so they didn't have to do anything else. But they also finally put me on a medicine that slows down my pulse. So my pulse, instead of being 100, is now at a good old 78 or 79, somewhere in there. I average, my pulse is usually 78 or 79. But when I'm walking in my prosthetics, to get all the way back to where we started, when I'm walking in my prosthetics, my pulse has a tendency to go up to 120 or 130. So,
Whoa.
yeah,
That is
exactly.
through the roof, my man. Holy
Yep.
moly. Real
So,
quick, I want to say, Backwoods, be safe, my brother. Thank you very much for coming and hanging out with us. Let me see. I don't know if Blue Eyes is leaving or not, but if you are, much love. Thank you for coming. And Pigeon Mac, good seeing you. Miss Christie, there you are, my dear. Good seeing you. Awesome. Wow. So, man, I could not imagine being told, "Oh yeah, by the way, Josh, you had a heart attack. Just no big deal. But hey, don't worry about it. It's all good though. So
exactly. Well, with
wait,
everything else that was happening in my
wait,
life,
wait what?
yeah, with everything else that was happening in my life at that time, it was very minor. So,
Yeah, right. It's like yeah, you're being told that, but at the same time, it's just like that's kind of the least interesting thing that's happening right now.
exactly, exactly.
Are you not listening? Yeah, okay, you had that, but
Yeah.
legs. Look down, legs. This is important here. Man, with the legs and stuff that you do have, what are, I saw, I believe it was I think I don't remember if it was just on your Facebook or one you posted, but you have the socketless socket, don't you? Like the something like that on one of your limbs, I believe.
On my left hand, on my above the knee,
Yeah,
on my above the knee amputee, I had the socket that you I think that's what you're talking about. The
yeah.
kind
It
that
just
you make
looks
the
like a big
adjust.
U.
You got it, and you make the
Yeah.
adjustments yourself and all that good stuff on it, and you don't have
Hmm.
to wear socks and whatever. Yep,
Yeah,
I have
that's good.
that. I had that,
Oh,
and then I the last time I went into I have a processor knee on my left side, and the last time I went in to have something done to it, they redid my they redid my socket to where they have a new system out where they make the socket as you're in the office, instead of being fitted for it, they're making it right there. So you're in and out of the office in 2 hours with the socket, with the new socket.
oh wow.
And this one is, which was new for me. This one that I have now on the leg that I wear all the time is a pin socket, which is something I had to get used to because I always had suction.
A pin lock.
Yeah, Pinlock, which I had to get used to. I'm still not a big fan of it, but I don't have the horror stories that you hear people having. So,
Yeah.
but and but yeah, it's neat. It's neat, and like I said, the prosthetics person that I have um, doesn't hesitate when I have a problem or I need something updated or I need something upgraded. Right? They'll bring me in and we'll get it done as quick as possible, so as humanly possible. So,
Yeah. This question right here. Question: how does that interfere with the family jewels, Robert Raymond?
woohoo.
I
Yes,
mean, with
lots of
me, I'm the same way. So
yeah,
they just kind of set off to the side, man. You
yeah,
know, I
that's
mean,
it. Lots of tucking.
yeah, yeah. You got to
Yeah,
kind of like put your leg on while you're pulling off to the side, and just kind of, you know,
yeah, and then I also have to use
yeah, you know,
um in the crease I have to use some sort of lubricant, put it that way, to keep it so it won't rub against my leg or any other body part of that
yeah.
nature. And but like you said, it's you just move it. So
Yep. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. What I do is here. I have a socket actually sitting right here, but it's not mine that I have now. It's my one of my below the knees. But like, okay, you have a sock, just a regular sock, and then your socket. What I'll do is like stick it like that, and then I'll put my leg on, and like
okay,
just kind of, and then your jewels, so to speak, will be right here.
okay,
So there you go. So it's not just like jewels up against your carbon fiber there. You know what I mean?
yep, yep. Well,
But I mean,
I
really
usually
want to know?
put mine on, and they're up against the carbon fiber until I move them. So it's once, but you only have to do it once. So believe me.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, there you go. We're gonna answer any questions you guys have, man. Hey,
Yeah, that's
you
a
know,
actually a good question because
totally,
I always
totally.
wondered, and I remember how embarrassed I was when I had to call the guy when I had to call my prosthetics guy up and say I can't walk in this thing because it's rubbing so hard against my legs, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, you need to use this." And I said, "Okay, fine." So and once he told me that, it's like night and day. So it fits well and it does what it's supposed to do. So
Yeah. And it's so awesome when you put your leg on and it don't hurt. You know what I mean? I know that sounds like a
uh
lot of people are like, I don't, it's not supposed to hurt. I don't understand. You don't get it, man. Trust me, you don't get it. If yeah, it's like walking around with a magnet in your shoe. I mean, a magnet, a rock in your shoe constantly. So it sucks. We'll just say that. You know.
it does, and I agree with you 100%. When I was just a regular, just a one-sided amputee below the knee, it got to
Mhm.
the point where I wasn't even cognizant of the fact that I was an amputee most of the time, right? Because I just walked and did whatever I needed to do,
Yeah.
right? But now that I'm a bilateral, oh Jesus! But yeah, it's no more of the fun stuff, you know?
Well, you know what though? You don't walk around with that poor little old me attitude though. You know what I mean? That's just not. That's just not who Robert is. You know.
You can't.
And the reason I know that, and the reason I say that, is because you would have never reached out to me if that were the case. So think about that. You would have
That's
never once reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want to tell my story," because I didn't reach out to you. I put it out there and was just like, "Anybody want to come on, tell your story? Awesome. If you don't, you're not comfortable, getting into it this stage in your journey. That's fine. You don't have to. Nobody's making you. And you reached out and you were just like, hey, I want to do this. This sounds like a lot of fun. So
yeah, and
you know
one main reason why I reached out, and it's something that I wanted the community to know that even though we're not considered bilateral amputees, we have one above and one below. and we're not considered a bilateral amputee, we want to be included too. And
Totally.
I know it's hard because you look at these people and they have they're dancing, they're running, they're doing marathons or whatever because they have two below the knee amputees or they have two above the knee amputees, and they can do these things. But when you're stuck like I am, and I told you this, I feel like I'm the mongrel of the community because people don't take people don't realize how bad it is on this side.
Yeah.
Um, when I went from a when I went and became a above the knee amputee, I had to learn how to walk again. I mean, I spent 5 weeks in inpatient therapy, and then I spent almost 4 months in it learning how to walk. And like I said with Dennis, the prosthetics guy, he was right there with me. I mean, they started me out in a regular walking leg that did absolutely nothing to put me right into a computerized leg and whatever. Because this happened like in the course of 3 weeks. I went from a regular stationary leg to a computerized knee, and
Okay.
that usually doesn't happen with people in my area. But I wanted to get in and out of there. I wanted to get walking and keep going and keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
Um,
Progress as quickly as possible.
yeah, I do have a second set of legs that have no power on them at all. Um, right now, what I have, my setups are I have um, bilateral power feet. I have proprio feet, which is the ankle that does all the like if you're walking downhill, the foot automatically adjusts. The foot will adjust to heels. It will adjust to whatever automatically. Um,
Yeah.
and then I have the microprocessor knee, which isn't well, it's waterproof where I can wear it in the rain, but it's not waterproof where I can wear it in the ocean.
I
And
got
so,
splash proof
yeah,
more or less.
yeah. So they made me, Dennis out of all my old legs, made me a set of legs that I can take to the beach if I wanted to go to the beach and go in the water and still have legs on.
Awesome. Okay.
So, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Very,
So
very cool. Um, have you seen the what is it called? Auto sweep, where the foot will like no matter how you move, like the foot will stay completely flat. Like so, whenever you take a step, that foot will stay like it'll stay bent. I mean, it'll stay flat the whole time. Like no matter what, that foot will just constantly
I think I have that
flip
because
it over.
when I walk down hills, my foot is automatically adjusting to walk down that
Yes.
hill.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I do have. But I have two of them.
Oh, I'm so
So,
jealous. Oh
oh,
my God, those are
believe
sweet.
me, I got them only because they give me more stability than not having
Hmm.
them at all. Because I used to fall a lot without them. And Dennis says, "Well, let me try you in these and see what happens." And once they put me in these, I was walking up and down hallways without falling. So,
Okay.
so they realized that yes, I needed to be in them. So that's why I'm in both. That's why both of them have the like you said, the auto sweep.
Yep. I have both a sea leg and a hydraulic knee, and then also
Yes,
got a locking knee.
yes.
But my hydraulic knee is the one that I use now. I have a
Hmm.
sea leg literally sitting right over there behind me, but I don't use it a whole lot. For one, it's really, really heavy, like
Oh
really
yeah,
heavy.
yep.
And my hydraulic knee, I can literally take and throw from here to the front door. I mean, it's like super light. And that thing, it's very reliable. You don't have to charge it, none of that.
Yep.
There is no, I forgot to charge my leg or anything like that. That thing is like super reliable. I love it.
Hmm.
And And yeah, like I said, I literally have a 17,000 knee sitting right over there that I'm not using right now. Yeah, I love having it. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, man, my hydraulic knee,
Well,
I'm stuck on it.
I'm telling you the same thing. I had the hydraulic knee at one time, and my problem was is I got too comfortable with it. I wouldn't pay attention and I'd fall.
Okay.
Um, so with the leg that I have now, it it has quite a few little bells and whistles. And don't ask me what it is. It's whatever the top Autobach knee is. But the only
Oh, there's
problem with
going.
this, yeah, with this knee is that it makes noise whenever you walk, and you cannot walk fast. You have to walk at a slower level.
Oh, I see.
You don't walk you're not walking terribly slow, but you're walking slower than you normally would, and that's how it keeps me from falling and stuff like that. But it also makes noise when you take a step. When you step out, it will make a noise. Like
Like that robotic sound, like that.
you got it, you
Okay,
got it.
yeah. My
Yep.
sea leg does that same thing. I'll be walking through, and it's like one of those things. If people weren't staring at you before, they certainly are now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, or as they said in my prosthetics office, I can't sneak up on anybody anymore. So because they can
No,
hear me coming.
you literally
Exactly.
sound like a robot. I mean, like
Ex-
all kidding aside, you literally sound like a robot. Just zzz, zzz,
Yep.
zzz, you know.
And kids just love it. So
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. What did you say? You hate when you click.
oh
What do
yeah.
you mean, Miss Tammy? Like your foot, basically? Mine does that as well. Yeah, Robert, there you go. No more ninja activities for you, sir.
Yeah, I haven't done ninja activities in a while, but yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, talking about her foot. Yeah. Yeah. I have 3 feet and all of mine click. Every single one of them. Like a varying, density, like,
Yeah.
torsion, that kind of stuff. And every single one of them you walk, and they'll either click or they'll go, eh, eh,
Yep.
eh.
Yep.
It'll have that little bit of a creak to it.
And there's
And
nothing you can do.
yeah, they all do that. That's just, I mean, you can spray it with WD-40 like up in the joints and like clean out with a toothbrush and all that, but that's only gonna last you so long, man. It just kind of is what it is. Um, a lot of the like I said, me and Miss Tammy next week are going to be doing a Q&A, and one of the questions I have, I'll just go ahead and or answer right now is, um, do prosthetic limbs make noise? Yes, they
Yes.
100% make noise.
Yes.
There you go.
And
I'll go ahead and answer my friend's question right now.
yes. And not every leg is going to fit perfectly where it's not going to cause some sort of pain somewhere along the line or discomfort somewhere along the line. I don't care who fits the legs, right? Something is going to be off with it.
Yeah,
So.
100%.
And that's one thing I tell people when they're getting their new legs is do not leave that office until you've either walked outside with it, walked up and down hills and stairs with it, and made sure it fits and you're not in pain and all that good stuff. You really try it out. I tell the new amputees that I've seen, I do tell them, that's what you need to do. So,
Yeah. Have you done peer visiting, that kind of stuff before?
no, no.
No.
I was I was going to get set up with it, and then it's just to go through all the crap that you have to go through.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of stuff. So the peer visiting is people will see me walking down the street and they'll come over to me and ask me questions. Like my husband is this, or I was just at a Coumadin clinic. I've been
Yeah.
taking Coumadin for 20 years. So now they send me to a Coumadin clinic. Um, but and this wife and husband came in. The husband had he just got out of the hospital. He just had his leg amputated, so they wanted to know who I went to, what I saw, and all this other stuff. So yeah, people like that I talk to. But as far as that peer stuff, I you know
It is a lot.
it's it's a lot. It really
It is
is.
a lot. You got to have what, 3 letters of recommendation from, and not just, oh, this is my friend. It's like a job.
Yep, and you have to have your doctor certify you, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, and whatever. So.
It took a lot of work, a lot of work. I mean, I'll say that.
It was at one time it was I got all the way to the point where I was supposed to start classes and they canceled the class.
Hmm,
So then I just this was years ago and I said no, I'm not going to do it anymore. So and
I gotcha.
I'm just as happy with, like I said, people talk to me on the street, people that know me know that I'm an amputee, and they'll have people call me or say, "Do you mind if I give so and so your telephone number and you can talk to them?" Yeah, that's fine. That
Yeah.
I can do. So,
So you are comfortable, like, talking about it, that whole thing,
oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, all my
And
legs have.
I don't mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I don't mean like, like me and you are talking about it right now. I mean like a stranger walks up to you. What happened? Like
Hmm.
that kind of stuff don't really bother you at all.
No, not at
That's
all.
good.
If
That's
it
good.
bothered me, I wouldn't wear. I would cover it up with the outer casings and make it look like an artificial leg and stuff like that. And I don't do that. So
Yeah.
it took me years to get used to showing off my leg um, when I was just a single amputee. When I became a double amputee, no, I said absolutely not. I'll just go out and people will see that I'm an amputee. I wear shorts all the time anyway. Um, People will see that I'm an amputee, and if they have any questions, they can certainly come up and do it. I'd rather have them come up and ask me questions than to stand there and go, behind my
Totally.
back or whatever. So,
Totally. What's the most like appalling thing you've ever heard? Like when somebody, not just in your whole life. I mean like when, like, for
oh,
me, I'll give you a for instance, like, really? You got a while, brother?
yeah.
Um, no, like, I'll give you a for instance, like, for me, I was standing, I've told a little story before. I just want to say real quick, hey, Chevy, what's going on, brother? It's great seeing you. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. Um, but I was standing paying for, like, standing in line waiting at the grocery store or whatever, and I could hear, like I said, I've told the story a bunch, but I could hear, like, this, I could like kind of see in the corner of my eye. They were kind of standing off like in the other lane going to pay for their groceries. Like, how there's multiple lanes. Well, I could see the girl sitting there going like elbowing her friend, and she was going like, and like looking at me, and her friend was just like, what? And looked down, and she just goes, oh my god, that's so gross. And I was just like, what's gross? I don't understand. Like, and she just goes like, and she goes like, oh my god, that's so gross. Like, I mean, it was a prosthetic leg.
Oh, I
It's
know.
the components and everything. And I was just like, all right, whatever. That's probably the weirdest thing I've ever heard. And I wasn't even offended. I just kind of walked away like, wow, okay. Oh my God, that's gross. That was like, I mean, I'm not even sure how to take that. I just kind of went like out loud, just kind of like laughed out loud, kind of with my arms on the edge of the cart and just went,
Yep,
I was just like,
exactly.
wow. But
No, my favorite
good.
was parking in the handicap spot, and this is before I was a bilateral, and before I wore shorts a lot. Parking in the handicap spot, pulling up and having the radio blaring and the windows open and everything else, and pulling up there and putting my sign up and jumping out of the car and have people come over to you and say, "You can't park there. You're not handicapped." Blah 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 blah, and then
Parking wars.
you just pull your leg up and go, "Yes, I can park here."
Yeah.
But
Hold on one
yeah,
second. Let
that's
me hop out. I gotta grab my chair real quick, and I'll argue more about this with you. Can you give me just a minute? Hold. Stay there. Don't run off. Just stay right there.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
I'm so stoked to carry on this conversation, but let me grab my wheelchair real quick. So just one second.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta
let me put
play
my
into it.
shorts on. Yeah, exactly. Let me put my
Yeah,
shorts on, and we could have this discussion again.
yeah,
So,
100%. Yeah, you gotta have fun with people, man. They're gonna stare. That's just kind of is what it is, you know.
it is, it is.
It's it's just gonna happen, you know. I tell that to everybody. It's like, how do you deal with people that stare at you? How do you don't? I mean, that's basically my only bit of advice I have for you. You don't deal with it. You just kind of, okay, cool. It's the same thing
Well,
as I look at it. It's the same thing as wow, I like that jacket. You know,
hmm.
I take it like that, or just like that's a cool shoes.
Well, we thought about getting T-shirts made of like the like a stick figure with the X through the legs, and going, yes, he knows they're gone, right? So people won't stare and whatever. So and won't be afraid to ask questions.
I have a good friend of mine. He has his merch, and on his one of his shirts it says, "Look up just a little bit, my butt's way nicer." I was
I
like,
like that. That's good. I
yes.
like that.
That says, "Look up just a little bit, my butt's way nicer." Like on the back of the shirt, and then it has
Yeah.
his logo on the front.
I like that. I like that.
Shout out Josh Sundquist. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Mr. Robert, I greatly appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us tonight, my brother. I have one question that I like to ask everybody, and I'm sure you saw it on the questions when I sent. A little peek behind the curtain, you guys. I send everybody the questions ahead of time. That's what general people do during podcasts and that kind of thing. So if I ever ask anybody, say, there's Mr. Pimp Pigeon Ralph right there. Good seeing you, brother. If I ever had Mr. Ralph on the show, I'm going to think up a bunch of questions that I like to know more about Ralph, tailor them just basically to him, and send them all over to him and say, hey, what do you guys, what do you feel more comfortable talking about? What do you don't? That kind of thing. Is anything, ixnay, whatever you don't want on here. And that's what we do with all our guests. And I'm sure you saw on there, I have one question that I keep on there. And if you could tell yourself something that you wish not something that's like, oh man, I wish I'm saying something that you can tell Robert yourself, not something you can tell everybody else. It's something that, back then going into this was something that was, it was a lot. It really was a lot. But God, I really wish I could tell myself, hey, don't worry, or whatever. What would be your piece of advice you would give your past self, like before going into all this?
That's a really good question. And you're wrong. I didn't see this one. If I did, I would have written an answer down for it.
Oh,
Um,
I'm so sorry.
that's like what would you tell yourself if what would you tell your past self if your future self could go back in time? Right?
There you go. Hey,
It's
right on.
it's just strange. It really is. It's been an interesting journey, one that I never thought I'd be on ever in my life. I'd ever be on this. And um, I really hate to say it, but it never gets easier. It never does. Don't ever look for it to get easier because once you get into that lock, and you know this as well as I do. Once you get into that lock where, oh, my life is so perfect now and all this other stuff and everything's fine, and then all of a sudden it bluey. It just goes. I mean, this all started because I was out on Columbus Day weekend at the beach playing football, and I tripped, and I thought I twisted, I thought I sprained my ankle. So I went to the emergency room. They said, yes, you sprained your ankle. If it hurts again, come back in. If it hurts more, come back tomorrow. The next day I went back and it wasn't a sprained ankle, it was a blood clot. And they didn't notice that right away. I had 14 hours later, I had to go back to the hospital and they had to medevac me to Hopkins to get it. I live on the East Coast, so they
Hmm.
medevaced me to Hopkins for my first rounds of surgeries. So, but it never gets easier. It never does, and I wish it did. No matter what no matter what advancements you have, or what legs you have, or what friends you have, what advice you have, it just never gets easier. But you keep going. So you keep hoping that it's going to, but you always have to keep in your back that it's not going to get easier.
Yeah, that's I always say that too in this channel. Square peg, round hole.
You got
You
it.
aren't. We don't have a round hole and a round peg and a square hole and square peg. This is what you're given. These two things, you have to make it work.
Exactly.
That's the way it is. So pull out a pocket knife and start whittling or something, but you have to
Hmm.
make that fit in there and you have to make it work somehow, some way without, without giving up and without, calling it quits because that's very, very easy to do. It's
Yep.
super easy to do.
Oh yeah. Yep. I've
It
had
takes less
a
than a
couple of
second
people,
to
a
fill out.
couple of people online that helped me out when I became a bilateral. Um, because to be honest with you, I was thinking about it. So, and I talked to a woman online in one of the amputee groups, don't ask me which one, and she helped me out a lot. So, and
Don't ever
obviously,
do that. Don't
oh
ever
no,
think about that.
oh no,
That
no.
I will fly my ass to Maryland and smack you around. Don't ever do that. No, 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 no. That's not even part of the. No, no. We're not even going to talk about that.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, Mr. Robert, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us. You absolutely crushed it. I'm going to tell everybody a little something. Mr. Robert here was super, super nervous. He didn't want to come on and talk to everybody. He was like, "Oh man, I don't know. I was like, "You're gonna do fine, brother. You're gonna do fine. Look at you. You came on here and crushed it.
Well, thank
Crushed
you,
it. Look
thank
at
you.
you. All right, my
And
brother.
if I can be any help in the future, you know how to get a hold of me. So,
Absolutely,
all
absolutely.
right,
Thank you so much for coming on. You have an amazing story, and I know my audience is very, very thankful, and I'm super, super thankful. And yeah, man. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank you enough.
not a problem. All right, good night. Take
All right,
care.
buddy. Any parting words? Do you have what's your parting words for us?
Parting words. Don't give up. How's that?
There you go, my brother. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
And find a good prosthetics person.
There you
That's
go.
what you need to do. You really need to do that. All right, take care.
All right, buddy. You be safe.
All
All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. Uh, Next week we have Miss Tammy Conlon, who is this lovely lady right here. There she is. Look at her. I love your avatar. That's adorable. All right. Anyway, we have Miss Tammy Conlon going to come on hanging out with us. We're going to do a Q&A kind of thing where what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out like a community post, and I'm going to put on there basically if you have any questions that you've ever wanted to ask an amputee, anything that's like something that you feel is like well, it's kind of uncomfortable. I don't really want to embarrass them. Ask us whatever you want. You're talking about two people that are completely open to talk about it. We don't really care. So um, that's yeah. Bring your questions all exactly 100% because that's what we want to do is we're basically going to spend an hour. You guys have heard Tammy's story several times and she's been on the show many times, and so we're not going to really do. She is going to be my co-host for the next week's episode. So she's not going to be the guest, she's going to be our co-host. So I hope you all are stoked for that. But yeah, like she says, bring your questions, anything you've ever wanted to know about amputees, prosthetics, um, blood clotting, depression, anxiety, anything like that that we can answer, that we're not experts by any means, but if it's something that we can answer, and you're comfortable asking, you can send it to me on IG. You can send it to me, like you can comment and ask your question there. If I don't answer it immediately, that's because we're kind of accumulating questions and we'll read it on the air, or just save all that and ask it during that episode. So there you go. We'll highlight your questions, that kind of thing, and possibly even bring people up if you just want to come up and say hi. Um, but there you go. So next week it'll be me and where'd you go? This kind soul right here. We're going to be hanging out and taking your guys' questions. So you guys, like I said, just be no topic is taboo. There you go. Exactly, 100%. So, again, shout out to Matt Bulow. Shout out to Terry Brown. Love you fellas from the Motivated One Legger crew. All these amazing people you see here. To you guys, we love you so much, and we're thinking about you, and we'll definitely be seeing you back on the show 100%. And also remember, from right now to the end of February, if you use the code baby MOL at checkout in my merch store, you'll get 25% off your entire order. So there you go. Um, One other thing I wanted to mention real quick is actually, I didn't. Well, never mind. We won't even get into that. So, you guys just bring your questions for next week, and yeah, we're gonna have a great time. So, with that, everybody, please stay happy, safe, sane, motivated. Don't look back. Don't give a crap what anybody else says, and we will see you next week.